We will now begin the first session. Before we begin the session, I would like to make a few housekeeping announcements. First off, I would like to talk about how this symposium will be proceeded. There are 4 sessions in the symposium, and in each session we will have 2 presenters. 2 sessions will take place in the morning, and it will deal with female images in the narrative paintings, and also the making embroidered kasaya, which is for representation and images. The presentation will last 40 minutes, and we have 8 speakers, so it will be a rather packed schedule for today. So I would like to ask the speakers to please keep the time limit. After the presentation, we will have a discussion and roundtable session. Jae-ho Bae of Yongin University, and also Maya Stiller from University of Kansas, and Ksenia Chusova from Princeton University will be participating in the discussion and roundtable. And those of you who have made reservations for the translation receiver, if you turn it on, it will be set to listen to Korean, that is channel 1. If you want to switch to English, you need to change the channel to number 2. And also we have transcripts that will be real-time transcripts that will be provided to those who are hard of hearing. So if you want a link to or the QR code to look at the real-time transcript, that is also available. So without further ado, I would like to begin the first session. The first presentation will be given by Shin Kwanghee of Central Sangha University. She has received PhD on the Buddhist paintings, and she has extensive experience and research on this field. Good morning. I am Shin Kwang-hee. Thank you very much for introducing me. I will now begin my presentation. Women in the Buddhist paintings is sometimes the subject or sometimes the patron or a very meaningful image in the painting. My presentation focuses on female images in Buddhist paintings, and I would like to focus on the Buddhist paintings, which is on the Sakamoni's story. So the main character, of course, is Sakamoni, but it also features the father, Jeongban King, and also Maya, who is the mother, and also the Sakamuni's wife, Kui. And what is interesting is after Joseon dynasty, this kind of painting has been commissioned by the royal court, and there is a lot of images of the royal court, and you can see the female images. And my presentation focuses on the trend and also characteristics of the Sakamuni paintings. And also I would like to compare the images and the gender image, women image. And also lastly, I would like to draw out some of the reasons and reasons behind the production of these paintings. Let me focus on the current situation. Most of the Sakamuni paintings were made in Joseon. Of course, there are a few cases in Korea, but there are none of the paintings that focus only on the Sakamuni's life. In the first period of Joseon, there are about 8 known cases, and I will mainly focus on the 15th century paintings. The 8 Phases of the Buddha's Life painting is the oldest painting, which is in the 1459 from Sejo's commission, and this is also included in the Seokbo Sanjeol. We can assume that it is included, and also it had a great influence on the 8 Phases of Buddha's Life paintings that came afterward. Now there is the Birth of the Sakamuni painting, and this also adopts the elements of the previous painting. However, it also refers to the Warin Seokbo, where Maya is traveling in a palanquin, and also they are heading to the hill after King Jeongbin listens to the news. And Yusong painting of the renouncement also shows that the prince has left the palace, and also people are looking for the painting, and also King Jeongban and Kui are crying. So these two paintings have very similar traits in terms of character and also the surroundings. And also there are many similarities in the coloring technique as well. Therefore, we can assume that they were made in the same period, and it could also be a part of the 8 Phases painting. It is not clear when it was produced and when it was commissioned, but we can see that the expression techniques are very similar to the paintings found in the court late 15th century. So we can say that it could be created in the royal court in the 15th century. So in sum, the 8 Phases of the Buddha's Life painting is the oldest painting in Joseon that deals with the Buddha's life, and it adopts some of the previous paintings, but also adds the characteristics of Warin Seokbo. Now I would like to dive deeper into the image and the images of the gender in the paintings. So in the painting, we can see that where the Sokka was conceived, and also in the Lumbini Hill, the prince was given birth. This is the same in Joseon, and Maya is sitting on a throne. This is probably based on the sentence where Maya was sitting under the tree, which appears in Seokbo Sanjeol and Warin Seokbo. But it is very noticeable that she is set at the very center. This is not only included in Seokbo Sanjeol or Warin Seokbo. There are other Buddhist scriptures that have the same content. For instance, there is 과거 현재 인과경, where Maya has given birth to the prince, and she was resting under the tree. This is a rather general sentence. However, if you look at the scene where the prince was born, it does not depict Maya sitting under the tree. And in the case of the Chinese painting, it does not depict Maya either. And also in Seokshi Wonryu, there is no Maya on a throne, and such image is not found in the Buddhist painting in Sansa Seongsunsansa. So, but in the colored paintings, the image becomes more descriptive. Her hair is decorated with Joseon style head ornament, and also we can see that she is Maya because she is sitting in a very fancy palanquin. And also, King Jeongban is wearing a king's gown. So we can see that this is a very realistic depiction of the actual king and queen of the royal court. And also, in other Buddhist paintings, there are images of king and queen. For instance, 안락국 태사 경변상도, we can see the king Sarasu and also his wife 원앙, Queen 원앙. And also in 오불회도, we can see that as well. But if we compare this to the painting of the birth, we can see that the characters are described in a more realistic manner. Let me now look at 유성 출가도, which is the painting of the renouncement. Kui appears in this painting, and Kui refers to Yasodhara, who is the wife of Siddhartha prince. So you can see that there are two empty chairs, and Kui is on the ground in front of the chair, and the prince is nowhere to be seen. This insinuates that the prince is gone. But if you look at the Chinese paintings, in the same scene, Kui is not shown, and only just the empty chair. So in the Korean paintings, you can see that not just the prince, but also the prince's wife was also considered as a main character, but that is not the case in the Chinese paintings. And also in this painting, there is another very interesting part. If you look at the bottom, when Chaik returns and tells that Taeja, the prince has been renounced, King Jeonbang is feeling sad, and Kui is leaning against the horse. And if you look closer, she is crying, and in Chinese characters it says Kui right next to her. This is very different from the Chinese painting. If you look at different versions, when the horse has returned, Kui does appear, but in the case of the Daboksa version, it is similar that she is crying against the horse, but there are other helpers around her. So it is the same scene, but in the case of the Joseon version, you can see that Kui is more visible. So in the 15th century Joseon Buddhist paintings, Maya and Kui are depicted differently, and also they play a central role just as the prince or the King Jeongban. As I have mentioned, this is not just a difference in style, and we can see that this was fully intended. We can see that this is more obvious in the Yusong Chulgado, and the key theme of this painting is renouncement, or leaving the secular world. So leaving the secular world is a turning point for Sakka, and it is a very important topic in many of the Buddhist paintings. But this does not include the scene where the prince has went over the castle, and when it explains that the prince has left the secular world by showing him cutting his hair. But if you look at 석보상절, the prince has left on a horse, and the four devas will be watching. And also in Warin Sokbo, it also says that the prince has gone over the castle walls and entered into the mountain. And also in Palsang Panwa, the renouncement scene is also included. If I may compare these two, the renouncement scene is not included in the text or in the previous painting, but in this painting, the actual leaving and also Kui's crying scenes are included. As you can see, there have been some changes. So I have analyzed the images and the gender images in the paintings. Through this, we can see that the gender image of the women in the 15th century Joseon has been changed. Then where was this change stemming from? To look at some clues, let me take a look at the commissioner and also the goal of creating this painting. 팔상판화 was a part of 석보상절, and you can see that in the preface of 석보상절. It says to pray for the peace of the deceased Sohon Empress. The title has been titled as 석보상절, and this is a painting of Buddha, and also it is written in the Hangul 정음 letters, so everybody can read easily and they can also rest in peace. So 석보상절 is created for the condolence of Sohon Empress, and also through the 8 phases painting, it helps people understand the life of Buddha better. And this is very notice. The fact that it was created for the condolence of Sohon Emperor is a very that is a very important part. So after Emperor Sohon has deceased, it says on the record of February 1450, a 8 phases painting has been created, and this shows why this painting has been commissioned and produced. Empress Sohan was the wife of Sejong, and she was highly revered by many people. She was one of the most well-known and most revered empress. Also, she is the mother of Suyang-daegun, who had led the publishing of 석보상절, and he was very pious to his mother. So Maya in the 8 phases, 팔상판화, is also related to Empress Sohan. And also we can see that this kind of record exists in the 17th century. If you look at 목조 비로자나 불좌상, it says the Empress is highly revered as Maya. So in addition to the scene where the prince was given birth, this is another scene where the Empress is sitting under the tree on a throne. Now I would like to look at some of the paintings on the birth of Buddha and also renouncement. We are not sure when this was created and why this was created, but as I have already mentioned, if you look at the style, there are many similarities with the 약사열애도, 삼재 석천도, and 오불회도, and it is highly likely that these were produced during the Seongjong dynasty. Then who have created these paintings? I personally think, just to give you the conclusion first, I believe it were one of the women of the royal court, Empress Kwanghee or Insudebi. Kwanghee Wanghu was the mother of Deokjong and also the grandmother of Seongjong. And Insudebi is the daughter-in-law of Sejo, the wife of Eugyeongseja and the mother of Seongjong. They have published many Buddhist scriptures and also commissioned many Buddhist paintings. And also we can check this through some of the images in the Buddhist paintings. One good example is 삼재 석천도. It was created in year Seongjong 14, which was 1483, and this was created and the 3 characters, Kwanghee Empress, Insudebi, and Jeonghyun Empress, were in one scene. This is very unique, and it is and the fact that this was commissioned by a woman in the royal court during the Seongjong dynasty is very significant. In other words, this also shows that the status of women were quite high in this area. And also the fact that the Kui's sorrow was emphasized after Taeja has left is very important. And Prince Eugyeong has died very young, who was the eldest son of Sejo, and also Prince Insang of Yejong died before 3, and also Yejong died in 19. So Seongjong became the king at the age 13, and Empress Kwanghee had run the the country for 7 years for the first time in Joseon. And the reason why the Taeja's renouncement scene was removed in the Buddhist painting could be that there was the wish that that the princess will no longer leave the earth. So in the 15th century, the women were considered as sacred beings, and they had the power to run a country, and also their status and their wishes were reflected on these paintings. So if we compare these Buddhist paintings with other Buddhist paintings from other periods, we can see the difference. For instance, 관경 16관 변상도, which was commissioned by and which was also which shows the life of 효령대군 and 월산대군, and also 약사 심존 12신장도. It also adopts some of the previous images. Also, 주강, who is the third son of 주원장 of Taejo. This painting focuses on the life of Sakamuni. So this makes us think about the meaning of 15th century Buddhist paintings that were commissioned by the royal court. It shows a very different trait where the women's image has become more highlighted and focused on. So in sum, I have talked about some of the different characteristics of Buddhist paintings in the 15th century Joseon, in particular with gender image. The existing women in the Buddhist paintings research was focused on the reason and the theme of the Buddhist paintings, but I believe it is a very meaningful research to focus on the status and the role of the women of the same period. I hope my presentation can be a starting point to the further research between the relationship of women and also Buddhist paintings. Thank you very much.